Welcome back. So, the headline is after 7 years of being a full time entrepreneur, I am going back to a job. And the reality is, I already did. So, I'll explain that to you in a minute. In this video, I want to talk about what made me choose this path and how I came to this decision, and whether you're just curious about why I made that choice or you're trying to make that decision for yourself. I want to explain some of the things that you might want to consider and think about in your process. All right, so let's back up and explain to how I got to where I am. So in 2015, I was working full-time as a case manager in South Texas while running my coaching business part-time. I had a little baby. So after he went down to bed for the night, I would work for a few hours and then I would resume again after his, middle of the night feed, which was at like 4:30 in the morning. I would just stay up and work until I dropped him off at daycare. And I was looking for ways to continue to advance up the corporate ladder. I love, just advancing in my career. That's always been something that I'm really passionate about. And, just accomplishing the next level. Like, I love leveling up. That is so much fun for me. I really love the thrill of it, the fulfillment, the excitement, etc., all while still working on myself and personal growth and development throughout that process, because I don't think there is use in trying to get somewhere just to feel better. That's not the purpose. I think the purpose of advancing and accomplishing is to experience and to get to, feel proud of yourself and love and be proud of your accomplishments and love your journey, love the path, right? Not saying you have to be proud of yourself only after you accomplish something, but the joy in that journey, okay? So my boss at the time, she was the head of 3 hospitals in South Texas, and she approached me like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this? I know you're pregnant, but what's the situation for you? Like, is this something that you would want to do?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I would love to do that." And so we started having conversations about what that might look like and, what that training and the progression of that. So I started looking at finishing a degree that I had already began and kind of like what that career path was going to be. And I was super, super excited. And later that week, my daughter was unexpectedly born, a preemie, weighing in at 2 pounds and being in the ICU for 68 days. So needless to say, that was like a big sign from the universe, basically saying like, okay, this is not your path, not right now anyway. Don't, this is not it, right? Like you're in a different stage in your life. Although you want to advance this is not the stage you're at. And so it was like a big humbling moment for me. And so I just continued running my business, and I ran my business for the following 7 years full time, while raising my kids, while getting to stay home, while, doing it nap times, bedtimes, etc., and growing that business to where I was making 6 figures, working 3 days a week, which was phenomenal. Such a great experience, and I felt really blessed. And so in 2019, okay, so let's back it up. At some point in there, we moved from Texas to New York, which I was thrilled about. Okay. And in 2019, I became a single mom. I was blessed to get to run my business during the pandemic and doing that 3-day CEO schedule, which was super awesome because I was doing, virtual schooling with my kids full time, Monday through Friday, and being basically the virtual school facilitator. Not because I wasn't teaching the curriculum. I was just making sure they were on with their teacher, right? So now let's rewind back to 2018. I was at the YMCA and there was a code blue there. And I jumped in and I helped, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love healthcare. Why did I ever leave healthcare? And I called my best friend on Voxer. Well, I Voxed her, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? Why do I feel my heart is pulling me towards this again? And I relaxed about it, didn't think much of it. And then the pandemic hit. and I felt that calling again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I really want to go help out. And I have friends who got to do amazing things and are still doing really, really incredible things during the pandemic, being CNO of pop-up hospitals and all this kind of amazing, amazing stuff. And I'm like, okay, I could be helping. And at the same time, I had to be realistic. My daughter was a preemie and she has the history that she has. And so I chose to stay home with her and to be with her and to continue on with coaching. And during that time, I had a lot of time to explore, to heal, through that divorce process, to heal, but also to explore other interests. And so I taught myself art. I started, doing dog sitting and all of this other stuff that I was like, oh my God, I absolutely love so many things, right? This is like the true issue with being a multi-passionate entrepreneur, right? We're like, we have so many things that we love. Why do I have to choose one? So when virtual school was not going to happen for the next year, I was like, in some ways relieved, because it was really hard being a virtual school facilitator. Anyone else? Raise your hand in the comments if that was tough for you. So that was super hard. And I knew that I definitely, was not going to become a teacher pretty much. And at the same time, I was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? I could be an artist. I could, be a dog trainer, or I could go back to healthcare, or I could, keep being a coach, which, if you're a multi-passionate entrepreneur, it's not like you're going to come up with one answer. So my answer is, I still don't know with 100% certainty what I want to be when I grow up, but I do know that I love healthcare. And I do know that I love running businesses and I love doing both. And so I am not going to deprive myself of either of those. I want to do both of those. Coaching is a great way for me to merge all of my love for business and my love for helping people, my love for psychology and behavior change and all of that, right? Those are all things I went to school for. And I also went to school for health, right? Like, not just for health. I was an RN, right? Like, and I went and got, almost completed my degree as a nurse practitioner. So like, I have all of that passion too, and all of that knowledge. And I felt like I wasn't fully utilizing either one. I mean, that side basically. And so, in addition to looking at that and being like, I don't want to settle for just one straight forward career path. I want to get to do many things in my life. There's the reality of being a single parent and the true benefits that come with working at a hospital are really, really great. And I want to be able to provide those things for my kids. And so that's really important to me. And I'm going to choose that. I'm going to choose those benefits for my kids. And, I'm also going to choose to continue coaching and to continue, doing things that I find fun. That is the point of life. It's not to get yourself into a box and stay there. The point is to experience life to its fullest. And I find joy in all those things. So I want to keep doing all those things. Now, over the last few weeks, I've gotten to actually live this plan out. And I wanted to wait that time to do a video on it because I wanted to see if I really, really felt that way once I got in there, right? Because there's the idea of going back to a job and then there's the reality of it. And I wanted to make sure I was still 100% aligned. And so I've been there almost a month. And indeed, I feel very, very happy with my choice. And therefore, I feel that I'm ready to share that with the world. I feel very happy to be in the hospital setting. I absolutely love working together as a team with multiple disciplines and people who are like so good at their jobs and just like have this wealth of knowledge and expertise that I don't necessarily have, right? Like thinking about physical therapists, for example, we work with them a lot. And I'm like, Yeah, and I have no idea about a lot of that stuff, right? So I just love learning new things, and I'm like a sponge. You put me anywhere, I'm going to start learning stuff, and I love that. Um, and I also have loved seeing other people in person and having, complex problems to solve and deep conversations that aren't around virtual schooling and that aren't around business, because honestly, at 7 years running a business, it starts to get a little boring uh, when you kind of know a lot of, what's going to happen. It becomes predictable. And one of my clients asked me that, one of my one-on-one clients, she asked me that recently. She was like, I feel like business is boring. I'm like, yeah, you've been running your business for like 6 years. It is. It's the same thing over and over again. And so if we are multi-passionate, if we are super creative, we need other things to challenge us, to cause us to be creative, etc. And for me, I found that through art, through my various hobbies like dog training, and through all my healthcare stuff. And I feel like my brain is back on, like, at full, like, lightning speed, ready to go. And I like that. I like living a life where I am mentally challenged in many ways to solve many complex problems. Um, and I love bringing that together, um, and kind of sharing the wealth of knowledge between disciplines. That's really fun for me. So, I want to also underscore that the point of life is to, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. And we get to do that by drawing happiness, fulfillment, satisfaction from the things that we're doing every day. And if at any point you aren't feeling that, or it's feeling a little dull, it's time to re-question and to re-examine. And I love the period when, the kids' virtual schooling was not going to happen. And I basically put all things you know, on the chopping block and started with the blank slate to say, where do I want to go? What do I want my life to be? And I think that, during the pandemic, many of us have had that opportunity to reevaluate. And if you haven't for a while, go ahead and take that time and ask yourself what you want your life to be moving forward. I also want to talk about the idea that I think is perpetuated online, which is that if you go back to a job as an entrepreneur, it makes you a failure or less than or anything like that. First of all, that is bull. Going back to a job does not take away from any of your accomplishments as an entrepreneur. Neither does becoming an entrepreneur does not take away any of your accomplishments from your career or from your schooling, etc., that happened before. I talk often about entrepreneurial amnesia, when you begin as an entrepreneur and you consider yourself a novice at everything, when the reality is most of you have an entire developed career path that you and life that you have lived with thousands of experiences and knowledge and a wealth of expertise that all of a sudden, because you're new to business, you have completely forgotten. Well, that comes with you wherever you go, whether you're going, you're still in a job and you're trying to leave, or whether you're an entrepreneur and you're intentionally deciding to go back to a career. And so for me, that has meant like revisiting my accomplishments, which I don't need to brag about here, but they're awesome. And I am proud of myself for the accomplishments that I have been able to create and the things that I have been able to do and attain while running my business. And I love them, and I'm very grateful for them. And I'm grateful for my team and for myself for being disciplined and staying the course. So remember that no matter what life throws at you, whatever you are choosing to do with it is 100% your choice. So if you decide you are going to keep a job, or if you decide you are going to take a job, or if you are going to decide you're going to run one business or two businesses or five, you are choosing that. None of this is happening to you. You are choosing deliberately what you want to do. And remembering to take that, blank slate, choose on purpose, choose intentionally, and love up on the reasons that you chose that. And don't let society or culture or social media or any other outside influence, their ideas, make it feel like you are off your path. Your path is yours, and you are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. And the choices you make today are going to be able to fulfill you in many, many ways, more ways than you can possibly imagine if you choose on purpose, if you choose consciously and intentionally. And so, no matter where you're watching from, remember that you are capable, you are strong, you are here to make a difference. So, go out there and go do that. Have an awesome day. Lots of love.